Brazil, a cautionary tale. Oh man, I need to see this. I need to see this. This is awesome. This is exactly what I need. It's going to be like about how Lula bad. I recognize this guy. I think he's the guy who went to his dad was like a member of the military dictatorship, and he denounced Lula in the US Congress. He looks exactly like that guy. Hold on, I gotta look him up. I'm pretty sure it's him. I am fairly sure this guy right here is the son or the grandson of one of the people from the Brazilian dictatorship, but I can't find anything on him, so I might actually be misremembering. Yeah, he is the guy. It is him. It's the same guy.
Mr. Figueiredo, did I pronounce it correctly? All right. Apologies. Yes or no? Is it true that you are currently under investigation by the Brazilian Federal Police for your role in the January 8th coup attempt?
I don't know. I haven't received the proper
Thank you.
notice.
Moving on. Reclaiming. Is it true that an official report from the federal police provides evidence of your participation in a group created to, quote, discredit the electoral process, plan the execution of a coup d'etat, and abolish the democratic rule of law?
Well, this is the perfect video to just basically summarize who this guy is.
Same answer.
You don't know. Okay. Do you disavow the military dictatorship that ruled Brazil from 1979 to 1985?
This has nothing to do with what we're discussing.
Okay, yes or no, please.
This has nothing to do with what we're
Yes or
discussing.
no? Reclaim. I can ask. This is my hearing.
I can
Yes
answer.
or no?
With all due respect,
Amendment
I would
rights,
hope
I can
that there
answer
would be respect
whatever I
shown
want.
to the witness.
What is he even doing here? I don't understand. Why is he here? That's great. He can't say no to that single question. That is precisely that summarizes it all. I'm not exactly sure. Is he related to this guy? Is he related to the ex-military dictator of Brazil? Maybe this Portuguese article has something about it. They call him a blogueiro. Fantastic. No, he's the grandson of the last dictator of Brazil. I knew it. I fucking knew it. I knew I recognized him. PragerU gets the grandson of the last military dictator of Brazil to make a fucking video for them about how Lula is bad. I cannot fucking believe it. Oh! Wow. Amazing. Let's watch. Let's fucking watch. I'm excited.
I went to live there one day. It's a representative democracy with 3 branches of government. We recently had a populist president who rose to power amidst widespread discontent with the ruling left-wing party. This populist president began to fix many of the nation's endemic woes. Its patriotic spirit flourished. Its economy boomed. But the left-wing legacy media hated the man who led this revival. And the entrenched establishment, government bureaucrats, unions, the educational...
This narrative is so fucking funny because the Brazilian media are so anti-Lula. The Brazilian media are basically the ones who enabled the US-backed coup against Lula that put him in prison in the first place and led to the rise of Bolsonaro. These people live in an inverted fantasy world.
Feared him.
And it's so funny how he talks about how he supports representative democracy, blah, 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 blah. Your grandpa is Heinrich Himmler, basically. Please silence. Silence forever.
They harassed him throughout his first term in office. They forced him to fend off slander after slander, investigation after investigation. And yet, despite their best...
This literally sounds like what they did to Lula. He's describing what happened to Lula, not what happened to Bolsonaro. The inversion of reality is Zionist-like.
Efforts to derail him, even impeach him, he advanced his agenda. When new elections rolled around, the president's enemies saw their chance. They had a plan, change the election rules to favor their candidate. It worked. They won. Just barely. Many of the president's supporters weren't convinced, however. Everywhere they looked, they saw fraud. The election was rigged, they said. Others used a harsher word, stolen.
Okay, and where's the proof?
Upon the new president's inauguration, tens of thousands protested. Some stormed the Capitol. Many were arrested, many were thrown in prison. But the now former president refused to fade away. This infuriated the new left-wing regime. They accused him of inciting the rioters. Using the courts, they tried to bankrupt him, remove him from the ballot, and imprison him.
Good.
Anything to stop him from returning to power.
Come on, there's no fucking way Bolsonaro could ever return to power. Give me a break. And by the way, the judge who is taking all his actions against Bolsonaro is a conservative. Let me show you. Those are some powerful eyebrows, Jesus. I mean, he was described as being a pure product of the elite from Sao Paulo. Oh no, he's from the Social Democratic Party, but I don't actually think the Social Democratic Party in Brazil is actually leftist. This is a Spanish Wikipedia article, so you never actually know. I mean, exactly. This is a centrist party. Position: social conservatism. I don't know which one is actual, but I'm pretty sure the PSDB was in opposition to Lula. I mean, it's hard to. Brazil has so many parties, so like him being aligned with them, if anything, is evidence of the fact that he is anti-Lula rather than some sort of Lula puppet, as they try to frame it. So in the second round of the 2022 election, the PSDB declined to support either candidate. So they're not exactly like an anti-Bolsonaro conspirational party, and the fact that this judge is a member of that party is hardly evidence of him being, anti-right or whatever. He's like leaning towards the right, centrist at worst, and they try to frame him as like some sort of leftist Lula loyalist, when basically what he is like someone who is a judge, for one, a Supreme Court judge, I don't know if he's a Supreme Court judge, but he's a national judge. And for two, but basically got tired of Bolsonaro's bullshit after seeing what he did and actually took action against it entirely within the law. Everything that he's doing is the letter of the law. And they're not happy about that, basically.
The nation I have described is Brazil. It's my home country. My roots go very deep. In fact, my grandfather was a president of Brazil from 1979 to 1985.
He just says it! He just says it! How was he the president of Brazil? Was he elected? Oh my God. His grandpa, who was the president of Brazil, was the son of a general who was exiled from Brazil after a failed coup attempt. Unbelievable. He was never elected, by the way. He was chosen by the previous dictator as the president. So, incredible lying by omission here. It's like, my father, Adolf Hitler, was the chancellor of Germany. And then you just show like a picture of Adolf Hitler in like a neutral suit, perhaps with his mustache shaved off so that you don't recognize him. Incredible.
I was the host of Brazil's top-rated political TV show. I had 5 million followers on social media. In the election of 2018, I
had lots of followers. I'm really important. Is that actually true, though? Because when I search for him, he's not even the first one who shows up for his name. I can't look at his profile. Not allowed. Whatever.
Jair Bolsonaro. I supported him again in 2022 against a left-wing opponent, Lula da Silva. Da Silva, or Lula as he is commonly known, is a committed socialist. His party ran the country from 2003 to 2016. During that time, Brazil faced the worst economy in a century.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Okay, let's look at some graphs. Hey, look at this graph. Hey guys, check out these graphs. The worst economy in a century. This is inflation adjusted, by the way. The worst economy in a century is when you take inflation adjusted GDP from around $9,500 to $14,000. The worst economy in a century. So extreme poverty in Brazil fell from 7.7% to 3.4% by the end of Lula's presidency. So this was the worst economy in a century? Dude, the economy before that must have been fucking awesome.
Corruption, which was always a problem, got even worse. In 2017, Lula was convicted of money laundering and bribery. He was sentenced to 9 years in prison. But in 2021...
No context about the fact that this was all trumped up bullshit charges that he was then completely absolved of course, which I've gone over in a video on the topic. By the way, are you ready for the New World Order? Indeed I have, and I'm all here for it.
Brazil's Supreme Court, which Lula and his allies had packed with leftists, invalidated his conviction.
That's so fucking funny. No, they hadn't. Oh my God.
So now Lula was free to run for office again. Having trashed the country once, he was ready for a second go. The media and the bureaucracy backed him all the way. But
so after 6 years in power, the right apparently didn't do anything about this supposedly leftist pack.
Wasn't Lula's greatest asset. He had control of the electoral process, which in Brazil is fully electronic and centralized. The man running this process, Alexandre de Moraes, was a sworn enemy of Bolsonaro.
No, he wasn't.
The fix was in. Lula won the election, or at least that's what we were told. And if we questioned it, we were called conspiracy theory.
The fix was this is amazing. He doesn't provide any evidence. He just like implies that it was a fraud, And he says the fix was in. Done. That's it. I don't need proof. I don't need evidence. I just say, and it is. Ooga booga, me no like. Can't expect much more from the son of a fucking military dictator, can you? Oh, sorry,
and I began to probe into how Brazil's secretive elections agency...
The son of the military dictator was his grandpa. Oops, sorry, my bad. I got them confused.
Counted the votes. My life suddenly became very complicated. The same actor, Alexandre de Moraes, a justice of Brazil's Supreme Court and the head of the country's superior electoral court, froze my bank accounts, blocked my social media, and canceled my passport. Brazil's Justice Department forced my TV network to fire me. I wasn't the only one. Other conservative journalists suffered the same fate or worse. The only reason I'm not in a Brazilian prison right now is that I'm not in Brazil. I now live in exile in the United States.
What an indictment on the United States. That this guy who first incited a borderline attempted coup attempt and then like kept doing everything possible to try and incite more of them in an election where there is literally no, not even remotely any evidence or any real reason to suspect that it was rigged, especially given that the guy who was supposedly rigged against was the fucking president. How the fuck would Lula, out of power for 6 years, rig an election against the sitting president? Incredible. The narrative is amazing. It's the same incredible narrative as Trump.
I tell you, what is happening here is eerily similar to what is happening in my home country. You have no doubt noticed the parallels. Here, like in Brazil, conservative politicians and their supporters are harassed, brought up on spurious charges.
It's so amazing who has been brought up on spurious charges in the US? Are we talking about Donald Trump here? I don't think any of the charges against him have been spurious.
Partially fined, even in prison. Here, like in Brazil, the powers that be censor speech they dislike. Here, like in Brazil, in key states, voter rolls are not maintained. Ballot security is unserious. There's little oversight of the people who count the votes, and there's no way to conduct a timely audit of the election. All of this was unthinkable a few short years ago. Freedoms Americans and Brazilians took for granted have been suspended under the guise of protecting our democracy. But of course, what that phrase really means is that the left can do whatever it deems necessary to keep itself in power. There's a well-known saying in Latin...
They weren't even in power. They weren't in power. How are they keeping themselves in power? They won power from you. What are you talking about?
In America. For my friends, everything. For my enemies, the law. And the law is whatever they want it to be.
I've never heard that before in my life. Okay, it is a real phrase. Ni justicia, that's it. But that's not actually the phrase. Ni justicia isn't the law. It's not even justice. And I agree. For my enemies, no justice. Except, no, actually for you. Yes, justice. Yes, justice for you. In prison. Extradited to Brazil immediately. Kamala Harris, get it done.
That's Brazil today. America's not there. Yet.
No, you got the phrase wrong. It's not translatable as like, for my friends, everything, for my enemies, the law. It's more translatable. It's translatable as, for my friends, everything. For my enemies, not even justice. That's not the same thing. If you want the law to be used against your enemies, then wouldn't that mean you want them to be brought to justice? The two phrases are totally incompatible. He changed it.
Could be. Tomorrow, if you're not careful. Brazil's a cautionary tale. Save yourself, America. You are the last, best hope of freedom lovers all over the world.
Says this fucking dictator's son, Heinrich Goebbels Himmler IV.
I'm Paulo Figueiredo for Prager University.
What a degeneration, though. Like, the family line was like military general who did an attempted coup. Then his son was a military dictator. Then his grandson is a blogger, a conservative blogger. Man, you aren't living up to your family name, my friend. You have fallen far from your family's roots.
Thank you for watching this video. To keep PragerU videos free, please consider making a tax.
Oh man, that's great. I'm so glad I watched that. I can't fucking believe PragerU just gets the fucking dictator's grandson to make a video with them. That is incredible. I love it so much.